No way. I know you know football, and I know there's no way you're looking at Kenny Pickett and saying that he's our guy. He's the answer. Look, you messed up. You dropped the ball. You made a bad draft pick. You drafted him at 20. He's not that good. We messed up. It's okay. Make right these like T'Challa said from Black Panther. Right these wrongs. Just write it. Okay, just go get Russ. Come to us. Last year with bad QB play, we was 9-8 and in the playoffs. So imagine with above average, close to good QB play, we will be a contender, bro. Russ, just Mike Tomlin, call Russ now, today, and get him in the building. All right.
Yo, it's your boy Jay Best, and welcome back to the Straight to the Point podcast, season 2, episode 27. On today's episode, I will be giving 2 shout outs to 2 girls in college basketball that's making a huge impact. And then following that, I'm going to talk about my top 3 free agency signings in the NFL so far this offseason. There's still more signings to come, but I'm going to talk about my top 3 as of right now. And then to end this episode, I'm going to talk about Luka Doncic MVP case. All right. But that's going to be it for today. I'm going to get y'all in and out. I'm on spring break. Y'all on spring break, so I'm going to do a short episode for y'all, but I'm going to still get y'all some good content, all right? But before we get into today's episode, I want to thank God for waking me up this morning, allowing me to talk about sports, which is something that I love to do. And without him, I would not be here right now. So let's go ahead and let's get straight to the point, all right? My first shout out that I want to give in women's college basketball is to Dawn Staley, all right, head coach for South Carolina. All right. At one point in time, when you watched the NFL, you always thought about the Patriots because it was consistently winning. It was consistently in the picture. It was a dynasty. All right. As of late, you think about the Chiefs, right? And when you think about the NFL, you think about the Chiefs. They're almost basically a dynasty. All right. They're consistently winning. They're always in the picture. Well, South Carolina is technically a dynasty when it comes to college basketball terms because they're always in the picture. All right. Dawn Staley over the past 3 years has 103 losses. I'm sorry, 103 wins. All right, 103 wins and 3 losses. All right, 100 more wins than losses. All right, that is pure dominance. All right, that's consistently winning for the past 3 years. Of course, she's winning a lot before that, but I just thought over the past 3 years, that is a crazy stat. 100 more wins than losses over the past 3 years. All right, in the last 8 March Madness tournaments. All right, she has 5 Final Four appearances. She went to the Final Four 5 times in the past 8 tournaments. That means only 3 of the tournaments she lost prior to the Final Four. All right. And also she has 2 national championships in 2017 and 2022. Now you're probably thinking, how's that dynasty? That's not really back to back or nothing like that. But like I said, 5 Final Four appearances in the past 8 tournaments. That means she's either losing in the semifinals or the finals. Outside of 2017 and 2022. All right. So that is just pure dominance. Dawn Staley has created basically a dynasty within the South Carolina Gamecocks. All right. Every year they're in the conversation. Last year they lost in the Final Four to Caitlyn Clark, which is nothing to be ashamed of. All right, because we've seen what she can do. All right, but this year they just went undefeated. They just won the SEC championship, and now they're looking to go and get a national championship. All right, so I'll be rooting for Dawn Staley in South Carolina this year. Shout out to her for inserting her dominance within women's college basketball. When you think about women's college basketball, you think about Dawn Staley in South Carolina. All right, so my first shout out goes to her. And my second shout out goes to, well, I just mentioned her a little bit a couple seconds ago, Caitlyn Clark. All right, I came out here a couple of weeks ago and I said Caitlyn Clark is the greatest college athlete to ever play in any sport. And she continues to prove my point. Okay, this year, not only did she break the women's D1 scoring record, but she also broke everybody's D1 scoring record, women and men's. She owns the scoring record, and she's still adding points to that record today. All right, she just won her Big Ten, her conference tournament. All right, in that championship game, they didn't win in overtime. She did have 34 points and 12 assists. All right, she's going to be the number 1 pick in this upcoming year's WNBA draft. And one thing that when I said what I said about Caitlyn Clark not too long ago, about her being the best college athlete to ever play college sports. A lot of people came at me and said, well, she's only a scorer. All she does is score. She's not a complete all-around player. Well, Caitlin Clark is number one in points this year, averaging points, and she's also number one in assist average per game. Number one in points and assists. So she is a well-rounded player. All right, she can shoot from anywhere on the court. She's just a walking bucket, and she's added the assist to her game. She's already had that in her game, honestly. When I first started hearing about Caitlin Clark, all I heard about was her shooting threes and scoring. But as I've watched and as I've seen her stats, she does fill up the stat sheet with assists as well. All right, so she has both sides to her game. So if you stop her from scoring, she's going to get her teammates involved, or she's going to just give you buckets back to back to back. So Caitlin Clark, I want to give her a shout out for just putting a spotlight on women's college basketball that has not been on women's college basketball ever. Right? Nobody really talks about it. Nobody used to talk about it the way that they talk about it right now. And I think it's a large part of Caitlin Clark doing what she's doing this year, breaking so many records, just won the conference championship, and now she's looking to go and win the national championship. I do think South Carolina got something to say about that, but she's looking to do that as well because somebody by the name of Jay Williams, for those of y'all that listen to ESPN, he won't say she's a great player until she wins a ring. To me, that's just blasphemous. That makes no sense. But she's looking to go and do that. I think otherwise, but there's a possibility that she can go and do that. That's just how good she is. I wouldn't bet against her, but I do believe, like I said a couple weeks ago, I say it again, she is the greatest college basketball, football, soccer, volleyball, whatever, the greatest college athlete to ever play a sport in the history of college sports. There's nobody in college history that put up numbers like this and just got buckets. like nobody can do what she's doing. She broke Steph Curry's 3-point record as well for most threes made in the college career or college season. It was one or the other. Like she's just dominating sport college basketball right now. All right, so that's my two shout outs, Don Staley and Caitlin Clark, doing a great job keeping or putting women's college basketball on the map. All right, and putting the spotlight onto that. All right. Now I want to talk about my top 3 free agency moves. All right. I got to talk about it. I mean, I came out here and I told y'all a couple weeks ago, I played this video in the beginning of my video today. In the beginning of the episode today, I saw my video from last week. I did say I want Russell Wilson, and Russ, I trust is the exact words that I used. I said, Mike Tomlin, go call Russ. We dropped the ball on Kenny Pickett. We drafted Kenny Pickett number 20 back in 2021. I mean, no, 2022, sorry. And it just didn't work out. Right? We messed up. We dropped the ball. We drafted the wrong guy. All right. We drafted a quarterback that wasn't ready to be a starter. All right. He got the start in 2022. Ended the season. I said, you know what? He had some promise. All right. He won us some games at the end last minute. He kind of had a lot of comebacks, a lot of game winning drives. It gave me reason to believe. We go into the 2023 season. I'm thinking, okay, it can only get better, right? The talent's gonna come, right? Because he had that, because he had the intangibles the first year, the winning and stuff like that. He had that the first year, but I thought the arm talent and stuff would follow the next year. It didn't. He took steps back. He got worse. It is what it is. We had to make a move going into next year. It did not involve him starting going into next year. We had to upgrade, and we did. All right, we went and we got Russell Wilson. Got him on a 1-year deal, 1.2 million, very cheap. All right, so let's just say, God forbid, it doesn't work out for some reason. It didn't kill us in our salary cap, and also it's a year. So if it doesn't work out, we can just get rid of him as well. All right, Russell Wilson. I heard a lot of people say that he gave up on Denver. And he's not a good teammate and stuff like that. I think Denver, when Russ went to Denver, we was hearing all the catchphrases, right? The Broncos country, let's ride, you know what I'm saying? Let Russ cook, all that stuff. We was hearing that stuff when he went to Denver because he was kind of in celebrity mode, all right? He wasn't, I don't think he was taking football as serious. I think he was so worried about having his own office and the big contract and trying to be the face of a franchise because he wasn't really looked at like that in Seattle. We didn't look at him as a Brady or as a Peyton Manning or as a Mahomes or as a Aaron Rodgers. We kind of looked at him as, okay, that's the quarterback that plays with Marshawn Lynch and the Legion of Boom. Those guys got more recognition than Russell did. So Russell went to Denver. His ego got too big. The first year he played bad. I will admit that. He did not look like a starting quarterback the first year he was there. The second year he was there, I think he got a reality check because of the first year. The second year he came to work. He had 26 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. That's a great touchdown to interception ratio. All right. But now that I think about his 2 years in Denver, it was a disaster because they paid him all that money. They signed him to that big contract to come and deliver rings to that franchise. It didn't work out. It didn't even get close to it because they didn't make the playoffs either year. But now that I look at that team, we said that they was a QB away. I don't think there was a QB away because the first year Russ played so bad that I didn't really look at the rest of the offense. But the second year, Russ played good, and I'm thinking, okay, your best receiver is Cortland Sutton. I think Cortland Sutton is nice. He's okay, but he's not really a number one if you ask me. I think Cortland's more of a number two, but he had to play the role of a number one, right? Jerry Jeudy, Steve Smith Sr. came out onto national television and called him a jag, just another guy. All right, outside of those two, who else was he throwing the ball to? Not a soul. Javonte Williams got hurt his first year in Denver, and last year he was out most of the season, their running back, and then he came back and had to kind of get going. When he actually got healthy, when Javonte got healthy, the Broncos won that little win streak. So Russ really didn't have anything to cook with, right? Russ was like, for example, when you eat chicken, right? Russ was the chicken. Chicken don't taste good by itself. Nobody wants no plain chicken. You got to add some seasoning to it. You got to put something on it. All right. Nothing was there for Russ to cook with, in my opinion. All right. So I think that we look at that whole Broncos situation and we said it was a QB away. And honestly, I don't think they were. I think they needed more than just a QB, and they didn't give him no weapons outside of what was already there. So I think they did him a disservice by not adding weapons to the team so that you can max out his potential. All right, well, you come to Pittsburgh, you have way more weapons than you ever had in Denver. All right, so that's already a plus. So I think that when we look at Russell Wilson, we have to forget about year one. And that's all people care about. All people care about is the year one because he looked bad. But last year he played good. Why did he get benched? Because Sean Payton didn't like him. We all saw the frustration on the sideline. Sean Payton was yelling at Russ on the sideline on national television. We all saw that. So that's why that played part into why they benched him. And they benched him because if he got hurt, he would have got paid more money. All right. So they didn't bench him because he played bad. They benched him because of a relationship between him and Sean Payton and because of his contract situation. All right. People need to realize he comes to Pittsburgh. The whole his head is not in the game no more. That's gonna change with Mike Tomlin. If Mike Tomlin doesn't do it, if you don't give him credit for anything else, you're gonna give him credit for being a player's coach, for getting through to his players, for getting his players to run through a brick wall for him. They said him and Russ had a great meeting, and that's a big reason why Russ decided to come to Pittsburgh. All right, so Mike Tomlin gonna fix that mentally, that mental support he need. Mike Tomlin's there for that. Then physically, right, the physical support is coming from his teammates. He has people to rely on. He has, as of right now, Deontay Johnson is on the trade block. But as of right now, you have Deontay Johnson, you have George Pickens, you have Najee Harris, Jalen Warren, Pat Fryermuth, Calvin Austin, a speedy receiver that we have not unlocked yet because we didn't have a quarterback to get him the ball. Now we have Russ to use all of that talent and 26 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. Let me tell y'all something. Since Ben retired, right? So we're talking about the end of 2020 season. All right, 2021, 2022 was Kenny Pickett. The Steelers have 25 passing touchdowns since Ben retired. Russ had 26 touchdowns last year. All right, so just think about that. 25 passing touchdowns in 2 years versus 26 touchdowns in 1 year. So that the signing Russ was just a big upgrade in general. All right, Russ even now, right? He's not what he was in Seattle, but even now, he's way better than what we've had over the past 2 years. Not to mention that last year, Russ actually had a good year. All right, so I think this was a huge move. I think that, and one more thing I want to tell y'all is that the Steelers defense last year, we only gave up 19 points per game. That was top 8 in the league, top 8 in the least amount of points per game allowed. We was top 8. We only gave up 19 points per game. Our offense only scored 18 points per game. We don't need Russ to be Patrick Mahomes. We don't need an MVP caliber Russ. We need Russ to average 20 points. That's what we need. That's average 20 points and we will win. That's literally all we need. But Russ is going to add to that because I think Russ right now needs to save his legacy. Russ needs to change the narrative. The narrative is he went to Denver and he's washed and that ruined everything. He needs to change the narrative. He needs to change his legacy. He's playing. If he wants to play more years, he said he wanted to win 2 Super Bowls in 5 years. You're on a 1 year deal. So you got to prove yourself this year for us to extend you to play another 4 years. All right, so Russ has a lot of pressure under him, and I think he will respond well to it. All right, for everybody that's saying this is not a good move for Pittsburgh, I'm sorry, but you don't know what you're talking about because this is exactly what Pittsburgh needed. We are the definition of a QB away. A good defense that gave up 19 points per game, an offense with no quarterback. He came in, he's going to come in and fill that void that we have. And y'all hear this all the time, but my checklist of 3 things I need him to do: take care of the ball. He only threw 8 interceptions. He does that. He take care of the ball. Make the easy throws. He can clearly do that, unlike the quarterbacks we had in the past couple of years. And on top of that, extend drives. Give the defense some breaks. Let them breathe. Let them relax. And I think he can do that as well. All right. So I think that was, to me, the best move so far because you took. When I keep saying we went 9-8. I'm so sorry. I keep saying, and in the last video I said it too, that Steelers went 9-8. We went 10-7. 10-7 with Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph. So imagine what's going to happen if you add a quarterback that's better than them, way better by a long shot. Russ is better than them. Had a top, according to most analysts on TV, he had a top 12 year last year. He's like a top 12 QB in terms of stats last year. All right. When you add that to a team that was 10-7 with no QB, what's going to happen? We are a problem now. We are a contender. We are a legit contender because we filled in the most important position in all of football, which is the QB position. So shout out to Pittsburgh, man. Thank you for making that move. Mike Tomlin, I got worried. Now I see the sense of urgency. Now I see that we realize we messed up by drafting Kenny Pickett. We messed up. Now, like I said, like T'Challa said in Black Panther, I must right these wrongs. Mike Tomlin said it. I must right these wrongs. I went and I got Russell Wilson. Now we cooking with grease. And now guess what? Still a country. Let's ride. All right. Next. My next big move that I think was pretty dope. I think this was a top 3 move as well. Kirk Cousins to the Atlanta Falcons. All right, and here's why. Last year the Atlanta Falcons was like right there in terms of getting to the playoffs with the Bucks. All right, the Bucks ended up winning their division, but the Falcons was right behind them. They really fell out of playoff contention the last couple of weeks. They was there to the end. All right. This offense we talked about last year, they have talents, but they don't produce, if that makes sense. And people said Arthur Smith's fault. Totally understandable. I get it. The offensive play caller was not putting the ball in his talent's hand, but also it was the QB fault, right? You had Desmond Ridder. Okay, Desmond Ridder was not good for the past. Well, last year for sure he wasn't good. He started the whole year, and then the year before that, when he got drafted, I believe that was Matt Ryan's last little hurrah, and he also got in there and didn't show much either. But so we know we have Kyle Pitts and Drake London and Bijan Robinson. Those are the big 3 that they have that people think have a lot of potential, but just hasn't shown it over the past couple of years because of coaching, because of QB play. So you add Kirk Cousins, who's an automatic upgrade over Desmond Ridder. All right, he's coming off the Achilles injury, so we got to see if that affect his game at all. He's not a mobile quarterback, so it shouldn't affect him that much. But in terms of that plant foot, I forgot what foot it was that he tore the Achilles on, but that plant foot when he throws, etc., etc. But I don't think it'll hurt him that much. But I do think that him going to the Falcons, Raheem Morris, the head coach for the Falcons now, was the DC and Los Angeles last year, the Rams. All right, when he came to the Falcons, he also brought the Rams offensive coordinator with him. All right, mind you, Sean McVay calls plays in LA, but the offensive coordinator is right under Sean McVay. So basically, you took the Sean McVay offense and you're bringing it to Atlanta. All right, who runs the Sean McVay offense? Matthew Stafford. All right, Kirk Cousins is not a Matthew Stafford by any means, but Kirk Cousins is a gunslinger. All right, he is a thrower of the football, somebody that can consistently throw the football, and I think find success from it. This is why Atlanta did not want Justin Fields, because they don't think Justin Fields can fit that Los Angeles Rams system like Kirk Cousins can. I think Kirk Cousins can fit that system, so I think that's a plus right there. And then when you look at the offensive line for the Atlanta Falcons, they was top four, fourth best O line according to Pro Football Focus last year. Okay, so you got a good O line, a good offensive system, led with and who in the offense last year, because Sean McVay is a run first offense. It's a run first caliber offense. Um, Kyron Williams, running back for the Rams, broke out last year in large part of the scheme that Sean McVay had. Well, that scheme is coming to Atlanta, and who did you draft last year in the first round? Bijan Robinson. All right, and then you also have Kyle Pitts, you also have Drake London, and they can still add more pieces to this offense, whether it's via free agency or in the draft. So I do think Atlanta has gotten better by a mile, and I think they're not done making moves yet. All right, so I do think that Kirk Cousins going to the Falcons. You look at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay really hasn't made any additions yet. They just kept Baker Mayfield. They kept Mike Evans. The Saints haven't done anything yet. Anything that's worth mentioning, at least, if they have done something. And then the Carolina Panthers, they're still trying to figure out just how to win. Right? They don't know how to win yet because of Bryce Young, how young he is, and they just lost their best player on the team in Brian Burns. So to me, the NFC South is open, right? The Buccaneers won it last year, but they ain't win it by a mile. Like I said, they barely won it at the end of the season when Atlanta was right there with them. So I do think Atlanta got better. And as of right now, today, I can be honest and say that I think Atlanta will win this division this upcoming year. As of right now, today. Now, the Saints can go and do something and change my mind, but as of right now, you upgraded at the QB position. You upgraded at the play caller position, and now it's just a matter of, can you get Bijan, Kyle Pitts, who has been a bust, but he has the talent. He is a mismatch nightmare, matchup nightmare at the tight end position with his speed and his size. Can you unlock his potential? And then Drake London, who showed some flashes last year. If you can get those three to ball out with Kirk Cousins, and you're gonna have something special, in my opinion. And that defense will be led by Raheem Morris, the defensive coordinator from LA that came over, will be led by him, all right, the head coach for the Atlanta Falcons. So I do think it was a great move, and I do think that the Atlanta Falcons now in the driver's seat for the NFC South, all right. My next move that I do want to talk about really quick is Saquon to the Eagles. All right, is this a need? No, it's not a need. Okay, the Eagles didn't need a running back, but what they did was, and I commend Howie Roseman, the GM for the Eagles, for doing this every single year. They upgraded the team. They got better. Okay, they got better. And DeAndre Swift did a great job last year as their running back. I think we saw a way different DeAndre Swift than what we saw in Detroit. He looked way better last year in the Eagles offense. Now we're going to see Saquon. On any given day, I'm taking Saquon over DeAndre Swift. Saquon, when healthy, hit a top 5, top 6, somewhere around there kind of running back. Okay, we saw what he has done in his career in New York with no line, with no weapons on the outside to take the pressure off of him to make plays in the run game, with no QB, right? With no quarterback that is a threat. Now you're in the Eagles offense, and when you're going into a week when you play the Eagles, when you look at that game plan sheet, you see Jay Hurts, you see AJ Brown, you see Devontae Smith, you see Dallas Goedert, and now you see Saquon Barkley. Like, to me, that is going to be a long week, a long rough week for you to draw up a game plan on how to neutralize all of those stars on that offense. This is the top heavy team now. Now we know the Eagles are really good at drafting, so we're gonna see what else they add to their roster. But the Saquon move just makes their offense scarier. All right, not necessarily a need. It was not a need. They got to fix the secondary. They got to fix a couple pieces on the O line. Or Jason Kelsey just retired. I don't know what Lane Johnson gonna do. So they do have some holes and some voids they got to fill up. But when you just add Saquon, a player like Saquon, this can honestly, and I heard this on the 3-man weave, this can be kind of like Christian McCaffrey going to the 49ers. It can have that effect, all right? Because now when you play the Eagles, you have to worry about Saquon. But at the same time, you got to worry about Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. Like it's going to be defensive coordinators really got to bring it. They really got to draw up a good scheme in order to stop this Eagles offense. Jalen Hurts, hopefully, I'm going to say last year he was hurt. I've heard a lot of people say that he was dealing with a knee injury last year. I want to believe it. I don't know if it's true or not, but I'm gonna go along with that. So I think that him getting better, healthier, you got to worry about him and his dual threat ability. He can put the ball in the air and he can run. And then you got to worry about Saquon, who can also catch the ball, right? So he's not only a runner, but he can also do things in the pass game. Then you got to worry about DeMonte Smith, AJ Brown, Dallas Goedert. Like it's a lot to handle. It's a lot to try to stop for this offense. That's why I think this Eagles team has the firepower now to really be dangerous. And it was dangerous before this move. Like I think last year, even though last year ended the way it did, I do think they are big contenders this upcoming year. But adding Saquon just added fuel to the fire. And I do think the Eagles made a great move. And like I said, Howie Roseman does this every year. He just upgrades positions. He gets players that are better than the players he already has, and he makes this team better year in and year out. All right. We almost done, y'all. This is the last segment of the day. We're gonna do my Luka Doncic MVP case. All right. So, if we all know that the top two candidates right now for MVP is Jokic, Nikola Jokic, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. All right. Luka, I think it's impossible for Luka to win the MVP, and it's only because I think for MVP, there's this saying: the best player on the best team. That's what it has come to, right? That's what we say about the MVP now. It's the best player on the best team. I think you can say that, but we put so much emphasis on it. Like it's the only thing that matters. Your team has to have a winning record for you to be, or you have to be a top seed in the NBA to have MVP consideration. And to me, it's stupid because the MVP at the end of the day is an individual award. We're focusing too much on the team. Like, is it Luka's fault that his team sucks? You know what I'm saying? We're punishing him for being on a bad team. The Thunder, it's not just Shea. The Thunder has nice pieces around Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. For the Nuggets, it's not just Jokic. Jokic has the best starting five lineup in the whole entire league. Like Luka's team compared to the Nuggets and the OKC Thunder to me is not even comparable. Like I've always thought that the Kyrie Irving trade was stupid. I thought the Kyrie Irving and Luka is not a good mix because neither one of them play defense. And at the end of the day, both of them need the ball in their hands. Now they have coexisted this year, but they have dropped to the eighth seed. All right. Luka Doncic is averaging 35, 9, and 10. 35 points, 9 rebounds, 10 assists. All right. He just had over the past 7 games, 7 straight triple doubles. 7 straight. He had before the last triple double he had 6 straight 30-point triple doubles. Russell Westbrook record was 5 straight 30-point triple doubles. He just had 6 straight 30-point triple doubles. So he broke that record and he just added another triple double the other night. So that's 7 straight triple doubles. All right. And this is my thing. Luka Doncic is putting up these numbers and they're losing games. Like that's what bothers me, and that's when it comes down to that whole best player on the best team mess. Because let's just talk about March 5th. So last week on Tuesday, Luka had 39, 10, and 11. 39, 10, and 11, and his team lost by 17 points to the Indiana Pacers. Like, what more do you want Luka to do? Luka literally, for them to be a top seed in the West, theoretically speaking, Luka would have to average like 40, which is not even fair. You're basically saying, Luka, you got to average 40 in order for you to be in the NBA, for you to win MVP. You have to average 40, right? Because we all want Dallas to win more. Dallas not winning games right now. Dallas has now dropped to the 8th seed since the All-Star break. They're 5-5, giving up the most points. They dropped down to the 8th seed, right? So basically, we're saying, Luka, we need you to win more games. In order to win more games, Luka has to average more points, which means we're pushing that mark to 40, dang near 40 points. Which who has ever done that in the history of ever, outside of Wilt Chamberlain, right? So I think that we're making it such an impossible award to win because we're so worried about the best player on the best team. To me, Luka's having such a way better year than Shea and Jokic that that shouldn't even be a part of the process of picking who should win MVP. Like, forget that whole best player on the best team mess. Like, that mess is dead because all y'all do is care about the team success. Shea is averaging 31, 6, and 6. Jokic is averaging 26, 12, and 9. Luka Doncic is averaging 35, 9, and 10. What more do y'all want from the man? Like, Luka would never win MVP if we keep worrying about the team success. MVP means most valuable player. If Luka, imagine this, they're the 8th seed and Luka's averaging 35 points. Imagine if Luka wasn't on this team or if Luka got hurt. This team is not in the playoffs. They're not in the play, not even in the play in if Luka gets hurt. Right? So I think that we put so much emphasis on the best team. It's the MVP, most valuable player, not the most valuable team. All right. So I think that because we look at it like that, Luka can't win. But my case is he's averaging 35, 9, and 10, and they're losing games. Think about that. Think about it. That means his team sucks. And it also means that he has to average 40 in order to get at least half the wins from the games that they lost. Like, it's an impossible situation, which to me is not fair. We are taking, to me, the most talented player to ever touch a basketball. We are taking um, that for granted. And we're not going to ever award him an MVP because his team doesn't win games. Or, I'm sorry, people going to phrase it, he can't get his team to win games. He's averaging 35, 9, and 10. They're the 8th seed. What more do you want from him? That just shows you how bad his team is. That he's putting up those points and they're still losing games. So my case is, once again, to end this episode, my case is Luka is averaging 35, 9, and 10, and his team is losing games. He just had 39, 10, 11 against the Pacers on March 5th, and they lost by 17 points. That goes to show you that his team is just bad. And if his team is bad with him averaging 35, imagine what his team would be if he was not on the team or if he got hurt tomorrow, God forbid. Right? Now they're the worst team in the West, basically, which that should be the MVP case right there. He's doing this, and his team is barely keeping their head above water, which means that all we care about is the team. That's the only negative about Luka's MVP case. It's crazy. The only negative about his MVP case is that his team sucks. Jokic team is deep. They're good. They won the championship last year, not just because of him. They have a good team. The Thunder is young and they have nice little young studs around Shea. Shea is having a great year, and I don't mind if Shea win. I wouldn't even be mad if Shea won. But Jokic should not win this year. Hands down, no question that he should not win this year. It should be Luka. If not Luka, it should be Shea. But it should definitely be Luka Doncic. All right. But that is it for today, man. I told you I'm gonna get y'all in and out. 30 minutes. I could did better, maybe, right? But I did get y'all out as fast as possible, man. I hope y'all enjoyed today's episode. I will be back on I'm gonna be back Friday. I'm gonna be back Friday because I know some more free agency things are gonna happen. I want to talk about that and also get y'all updated more and talk about the NBA more as well. All right, but much love. I'm out. Y'all stay safe. Y'all stay blessed. Enjoy y'all spring break, man. Don't do nothing stupid. Spend time with your family. Have fun. I'm out.